and all of those things. And some information that you guys can also jot down. I'll put it in the chat as well, especially the WhatsApp group. So please, I'm also gonna share that. So let me quickly share a link to a WhatsApp group if you want to join our WhatsApp group. We'll discuss things there as well, share things. What I will also do is normally I will, yes, the presentation and recordings will be on my UNISA as well, on the Western Cape portal, but I normally also share it on the WhatsApp group or via YouTube or something like that. So if you can't make a session, I will always then send it to you that you have it. Yes. Oh, there's Bronwyn. Hi, Bronwyn.
Hi, John. How are you?
Good. I was thinking somebody might join, so I'll give over to you.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly go through. I'm going to steal 5 minutes of your time.
Perfect.
Just for the students on the call, I'm going to share my screen because I just want to take you through the Western Cape portal. If you do not have access to the Western Cape portal, please do send us an email. I'll put the email address in the chat soon. This is just so that you have access to the notes and recordings as well as how to join the session. So it does help if you familiarize yourself with the Western Cape site under my modules. If you haven't been added, as I mentioned, please drop us that email. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Sorry, Jean.
Okay. No worries. Hopefully you can join.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I've just got to close all these tabs. I still need to figure out how to get rid of this thumbnail. Okay, let me just try and move this out here. Doesn't want to move it all. Let me just pin this and see if I can move that. No. Okay. Plan B. Let me unshare quickly. And then I'm going to open up the site first. I do apologize. I should have been more prepared, but I just thought I'd drop in quickly. Okay, so let me share again. Where's my Teams? Here we go. Okay, so for those that are in the session, it's very simple to log into my modules. You should have attempted this already. If you haven't done this and you're having a challenge with anything related to my UNISA, I will recommend that you drop us an email at CTNTut. As I mentioned, I will put that in the chat for you, so don't worry about the email address now. But very simple, all you need to do is you log into your My Modules. It will ask you to verify that you are a student or a marker, e-tutor, whatever. There will be a different link that pops up. Just click on that link and then it will open up this page that is showing on the screen now. I'm just going to quickly minimize this out of the way. Let's do that. So once you have done that, if you click on your My Modules and you go to the Western Cape region, if you don't see it, remember I said you will need to send us an email. If you click on Western Cape region, you will see all the support that is available to you. So very important on this site, if you just go to the top, you will see there's an overview of us. We've got a Facebook page that I highly recommend that you go and like, because we do post any relevant information to students, events happening on campus, online, etc. But these are the main big events that are taking place, like our orientations, any moot court debates, etc. That all gets put on our Facebook page. We also have a Twitter handle that you can go and like, or X as it's called now. So you are more than welcome to go and like those pages. Then very important, the help and support. This is our designated email addresses that you send your queries to, and please make sure that you direct your query to the correct department so that you are, that we do respond to your questions or your query that you have. So any academic support in ICT, as mentioned, that it will be us under facilitation of learning, goes to ctntat@unisa.ac.za. Anything student admin related, application, registration, funding, anything to do with exams, etc., that will go to capetown@unisa.ac.za, or George if you are living in the Southern Cape. So it will go to george@unisa.ac.za. Student counselling and career guidance. This is generally for students that they've realized they registered for the wrong course, they're not sure what to do, they need to change modules, etc. They're struggling with time management. They're not sure how they're going to fit 5 modules into a semester. They're having anxiety. There's exam stress that comes in when you're writing exams, even assessment stress. You might lose a loved one, loss of job, so it's dealing with loss in general. You can direct your queries to CPT counselling. We do have in-person counselling per appointment, as well as online counselling services. Then anything related to the library, borrowing of books, accessing articles online, etc., that will go to CTN Lib. So please just direct your queries to the relevant departments. So if you are able to access the site, you do have all our email addresses as well. If we are not able to resolve the query for you, we will direct it to our colleagues in Pretoria. Then, very important, under the service support or the support that is offered, we've got these different tiles. I'm just going to briefly go through 3 of them. Digital learning. So if you click on digital learning, this is where there is all support for you as students regarding the computer labs that we have on campus with free Wi-Fi, free internet access. We've got digital workshops that take place. We had one today. I don't know how many of you on the call were there. But we have in-person workshops, which was today, and on Thursday we've got one that is taking place online between 6 and 7. Then we've also got learning resources that are available for you, so you can go and study at your own pace, own time, how to troubleshoot My UNISA, My Life, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. And then we've also got other online resources that are available to you. So please do go through the site. Then if you are one of those students that wants that help, individual support, you don't want to be in a big session with other students, you can book a consultation with one of the digital learning advisors, and you simply just click on this button to book a consultation. Consultation times is Mondays and Wednesdays, and they do have time slots if you click on that link. Then we do have a schedule as well. So here's a link to the workshops that will be offered during the semester. This is subject to change on student needs and also on student demands, because sometimes some students come in and say, I really need training on Microsoft Word, and then we will host that workshop for the students. So we would communicate it with you over here as well. Then just a link to our high-level events, workshop, and class schedule. I'll take you through that now. This is just where you can access what is happening on campus, what is happening online, as well as the links to join, and also the notes and recordings folder. So I'll just show you that briefly. Here is also the resources that I spoke to earlier, and also the My Exams. When you come closer to exam time, there are also resources for you to go and peruse there on how to navigate your exam. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. I just want to show you the events, class, and workshop schedule. So this is the high level. This is where everything gets posted here. We've got all our training. We've got meetings, etc., that are hosted. Everything gets posted over here. So for today's session, there you can see is the skills for quantitative methods and the link to join. You simply click on the button. If you need to click on the notes and recordings, so if I just click and open that screen for you, you can see there's no recorded sessions at the moment because this is the first class, but as they become available, we will have the date of the recording as well as the recording hosted here for you. And we do download it from MS Stream and we upload it to YouTube. And then, so it does take a bit of time. It's about 72 hours max that we do give it a turnaround time of 72 hours. The reason we do it this way, it's just so that it's cheaper on your pocket. It doesn't cost as much with the data. And then in the notes and class notes folder, this is where we have the link. You can see there is some PowerPoint presentations that Jean has already put in, as well as your updated QMI1500 lesson plan. So you can go and plot and diarize these times, dates, etc., that you've got it on your e-calendar, and that you just check on the high level UNISA Western Cape, where is that one? On this one, that the session is taking place. If there's any changes, we will communicate it via your My Life email account, and we will put a note up here to say class cancelled, next class, as an example. Please take note that today we sent an SMS out for the session. We will not send out repeated SMSs. We do not want to spam your SMS inbox. We will, from going forward from next week, only send emails to your My Life email account. So please make sure that you access your My Life account on a regular basis. So just if I can go back, and now this thing is in my way again. This one. Hey. Let me just do that. There we go. So the other one that I want to show you that was digital learning is the Writing Center. Now you are registered for QMI, which is a numeracy center module. But in the Writing Center, there's also a list of modules that they support. So what I would recommend that you do is click on the schedule, go and view everything. We've combined the literacies together for Writing Center and for the Numeracy Center, and go and see if any of your sessions are there. So what's happening today with them is ENN 1504. And again, you can see this is just the schedule for the Writing Center. We do not put everything here. So this is a quick reference. If you want to see if anything's happening in the Writing Center, you can scroll, see if your modules appear, and then you can click the session to join or diarize it, etc., etc. There you can see on different tabs. So we go right through to the next week as well. The schedule is only for a week, so please make sure that you do check it on a regular basis. So that, in a nutshell, is the Writing Center. And then the Numeracy Center, the same thing. There you can see all the workshops that are just relevant to the Numeracy Center. So that is also up to date. And again, the schedule for the week. Also, if you want to access the notes and recordings from this page, you just scroll a little bit down, and then you will look for QMI on this long list of modules. There it is. And this will take you directly to the same page I showed you earlier, the notes and recordings. So that is it. In terms of the support that we have, please go and have a look at our portal, go through it in depth. If you have any questions, then you can drop us an email at CTNTut. I will put that email address shortly in the chat. Just one more thing that I wanted to show you is there is a tile over here, student orientation. We did have an induction session on the 28th for all students, explaining how to navigate our portal, the importance of the portal. You can go through that. There you can see what we discussed, and there is the recording for it. We also have other sessions that took place, the Student Orientation Week, as well as the Western Cape Student Orientation or Information Session that was on the 24th. But this one in particular was all about learning support. So we go through a little bit of digital learning, career counseling and development, and library services. Just for to not confuse you, or that we can just clarify that these are academic literacy sessions. They are not tutorial classes. We currently do not have support for tutorials at this present stage. That is why we have recommended, or rather have gone the route with the academic literacies, which is skills-based facilitation for you in the module, just so that there is some sort of support. Students will be allocated to e-tutors, as well as teaching assistants, and then also e-tutors. So Jean is here to give you assistance in this module. He's a subject matter expert in it. He's been with UNISA for a number of years, and I know you're in very good hands. So Jean, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and you can share yours again. What I am going to do for the students is I'm just going to put this email address in the chat.
Yeah, it is also in, I actually have it in my slides as well.
Oh, okay. So, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So when I also share later the slides, you guys can can see it again, and it is on the slides that are in the folders as well.
I just want to get a thumbs up from the students. Are you guys all happy with the portal? If you can just get, thank you. I've got some thumbs up. There we go. Okay, so please just make sure you've got access. If you don't, drop us an email and we'll add you to the site. Thanks, Jean.
Cool. Thanks, Manu, and have a good one.
Will do.
Thanks. And yeah, I can definitely, guys, if you don't have access, so even if you are not part of a Western Cape area and somebody sent you this link, or please still send a email to CT and TUT that you can get access to the portal and things like that. It is really worth it. Okay, so then just on my side, so please, there is also yeah, the more the merrier. So I'm glad to see that there's 50 people in this session. It is really cool. Last year it was not that much, so glad to see the numbers coming in this year. You can there is a WhatsApp group for QMI. I've shared the link in the chat, but you can, if you can't get access to the link, you can also send me a WhatsApp, and I will just add you to the group. So what I will also be doing is, when after the session, I will share the session again with you guys. So it will be in the folders, but I will also share it on the WhatsApp group, because I normally, if we write on it, if we make calculations, you want that back. So I will definitely share that back with you guys. Then also two ways of emails. You can send me on my the UNISA email, or to Gmail. There is a email account for you that you can send queries to, or assistance, and those kind of things. But also, if you're part of a WhatsApp group, it just makes communication so much easier. Okay, so what I thought is also interesting, before we even go into some of the work. So to share the schedule with you, it is in an Excel, also in the folder, but every week that we go through it, I will just show where we are. Also, that easier reference when you do all the assignments or TUTs that you need to do, or when it comes to exam. The one thing that I would like to ask you guys to share with me is your um, assignment schedule, or when you need to hand in things. It might just be that we need to adjust the schedule a bit to fit some of your assignments in, because then at least one can maybe cover the topics before you need to hand in the assignments. Okay, so let's get into this. So I think, and I see some of my previous group of BNU are joining on QMI. So the QMI is part of a decision sciences. So there's a lot of similarities between BNU, QMI, DSC. So if you are looking at your schedules and you're seeing that maybe you might have BNU at a stage, or DSC, I'm also the support for that. So we will probably meet again in one of those sessions as well. So tonight, just gonna do quickly look at theme one. What we see in theme one is a lot of nearly previous work that what they nearly talk about is work that you should have done at in maths at school or in one of the other subjects. But for you guys that are starting off as this is your first subject into the decision sciences, I think it's important that we just go through a few things. If I remember, is QMI how many assignment, and you can unmute and chat, or you can put it in the messaging as well. When is your first assignment due? Or was it already due? Because that is also sometimes that we start sessions too late and then we start to try to catch up with what the assignments was. So if you can just give me a quick indication on when your first assignment is due, that will also be cool. Just that we have. Okay, cool. 28 March. Okay, so that gives us some enough time. And on what themes is it based? And then I will make sure that we cover that for you before the 28th of March. And is 28th of March not even over the Easter weekend, just before? Okay, so it's just before Easter weekend. Okay, so we'll definitely, okay, up until 2.2. So by this week and next week, we will cover what you need to do before the 28th. So it might then be that that session on the 18th, instead of looking at chapter 3, we might also look at a recap of the first two sections, so that we can just prep you in advance for that assignment that is due. Is it also like some of our other assignments that is now fully online, that you need to log on to complete it, so there's no nearly pre-work that you can prepare? It's basically online when you need to submit it, because in that case, what we can also do is share all these presentations as we finish them, and then you have access to that when you need to do the assignments. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's then for tonight focus on theme one. So what I've done is looked at what you need to cover. There is some questions in here that we will go through, that we will look at. The definitions are in here, so I think when you look at it, you'll see that you can basically use this a lot for your prep work, and you will see that as we go through things, I have added a bit more. So the first thing that we look at is priorities, and in priorities, there's a few ways that one can nearly try to remember it. So the one is BOTMAS, that talks about, okay, first, if you see brackets, you do the brackets. Then if there's anything that you have to the power of 2 or 3 or 4, you do that. Then you can decide if you want to do the division or multiplication, it doesn't really matter which one you do first, and then your addition and subtraction. So that is nearly how we will do all of our questions. So things that they will not ask you a question like this in the exam, but this is nearly just for practice. If you guys can nearly in the chat just say what that first answer would be. So 2 times 3 plus 4 times 5. And even if you look at grade 26, it is because you'll do the multiplication first. So it is with 2 times 3, which is 6. And then with 4 times 5, which is 20. So you get the 26. Cool. So you get that process basically first multiplication, then addition. And if you look at the second one, that was given 8 divided by 2 minus 6 divided by 3. So what they will do in your exams is obviously not like this. And I will show you later on when we get to one of the other parts. So when we get to variables, we normally, what they will do is put the two together. It might be that they put some of the powers together with some of the roots. So it will not just be as straightforward as this, where they just give you one with the other, and perfect. Brenda, it is too. So, and please use this. So what I like to do when one get to the next stages is, and I know not everybody has the ability to print these things, but if you can print some of the notes, but you can also download it. But yeah, it will be nice if you can do that. So what I will also do on the WhatsApp group is I will send, before we have a session, I will share the PowerPoint, and afterwards I will also share a PDF of it so that you can see when we start working out some of the questions and answers, we will get to that as well. So the difference between when you look now at the normal numbers, now we add variables to it, and basically what a variable is it is a placeholder. So sometimes I've seen in some of the exam papers and your assignments that they love to sometimes give you theoretical questions as well. And it might be something like, and they won't ask you what is a variable. So they would maybe say, which one of the following is correct or which one of the following is incorrect, and then they will mention a few definitions. So they might then use the variable one as one of those that might be incorrect or correct. So just be, it's nearly more caution that they sometimes like to add definition questions as well. We're so used to getting only numeric questions, but I have seen a few times that they do ask some of the definition questions. So basically, a variable can be any and in this instance, any alphabetic number nearly. And as we go along, we will now need to, with the previous one, start adding things together that has variables in them as well. With roots and division and power, we will start to need to do other things with that as well. Okay, so then what I thought was, okay, so again, on the side of more for you in the sense of definitions. So if they talk about laws of operation, they might ask a question around these are the 5 laws of operation, which one is incorrect or which one is correct. So just have it as a tool, and we can quickly just go through it. So the one is the cumulative law of addition. So basically what it says is if it is 2 plus 3, that will be equal to 3 plus 2. So basically whatever you plus together, it will be equal to a nearly just the opposite of it. So A plus B is equal to B plus A. So for the cumulative law of addition, there's always one for multiplication as well. So A times B will be equal to B times A. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So that is basically the first two around the cumulative law. And then we get one that is talking about association. So A plus B, it can be in brackets, don't need to be in brackets. Plus C is the same as A plus B plus C in brackets. So again, if it was 2 plus 3 plus 4, it will be exactly the same as 2 plus 3 plus 4. So just and if I then want to add a variable, 2x plus 3x plus 4x is the same as 4x plus 3x plus 2x. So we can, with that, add variables in there as well, and it will stay the same. And then just as we have one for addition, again, we will have one for multiplication. And that just says A times B times C is the same as A times, in brackets, B times C. So again, just using it interchangeably. And then the last one, basically that we will use a lot when it comes to variables. And you can even see it sometimes now that I want to use a variable. So what we will normally do is then say, okay, but let's multiply it in. So we will say x times x. So that will be the one bracket, and then the other one, we will say x times 1 in this instance. So you will see it's exactly the same as the formula, A times B plus A times C. So again, one can see where we're heading towards more the variables. So you will get in the assignments a question where it is just the numbers. You will get something in the assignment that is also to do with the variables. So, and you will see later on, there is a lot of questions that I have at the end that we will work through so that you get to see some of the questions that they might ask. And I will share as I see things and pick up and see old exam papers, I will share that with you guys as well. Okay, so that one of the sections was laws of operations. Then we go into fractions, and I think what is again important nearly with the fractions is sometimes they don't put that much focus on it, but what is important nearly is more to understand sometimes the differences between the different fractions. So, okay, the fraction at the top, we have the numerator, and at the bottom, we have the denominator. But what we see more, and what I've seen in some of the papers, is that they specifically ask, out of the following four, which one is a proper fraction? Or out of the following four, which one is an improper fraction? Or which one is a mixed number? So they might have a question where they list all three of these options, and they just ask you which one is a proper fraction. So instead of, because normally how I want to get to an answer. So if they give me a fraction, I just want to simplify it, and just be careful how they phrase the question, and not that you look at the simplest one, but look at the question that, and know the difference between the three. So the proper fraction is basically a fraction that you can't simplify anymore. Improper fraction is a fraction that you are supposed to be able to simplify. So the improper fraction of 12/3, that answer is actually 4. So it is possible to simplify it even more. Then what a mixed number is, so in this instance, you will see that you can simplify it. It doesn't give you a full number, but you first need to check how we simplify it. So again, a few methods. I would probably have said, okay, let's divide by 4. So 16/24. Let's divide both of them by 4. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And then we see, okay, but we still can even make it more simplified, that we get to the final answer of 2/3. So we know that A should have been actually equal to 2. So that is also a question that they can ask, is solve for A. Then other things that they bring in, is nearly looking at things like the opposite. So where you have, so this one is 100/7, but let's give another example, and you need to wait, let's just quickly delete that. Okay, so, and what a name to pronounce, reciprocal, or even if you, so basically what that means is whatever the fraction is, you turn it around. So 16 over 12 will become 12 over 16. And then what they can do as well is in your answer set, you might not see the 12 over 16 because it was simplified. So it might be that they ask you that, but then in your answer set, if we simplify that, what is it, 6 divided by 8, and that is 3 divided by 4. Okay, so it might be that one of the answers was 3 divided by 4. You don't see the 12 divided by 16, and one nearly says, okay, but yes, they made a mistake in the question, but actually it was because one can still simplify it. Again, it is very unlikely that in your assignment and in your exams, they will ask you all of these, because again, questions are limited. So it might be that they ask one of the fractions. They might ask you one on prime factors. So the way that I normally work out the prime factors is I would, and let's use a different one. So let's say you need to get the prime factors of 18. So how I would normally do it is say, okay, well, 2 goes into 18. What is left? Okay, we are left with 9. 2 can't go into 9, but the next one is 3. So 3 goes into 9 3 times. Then what goes into 3? 3 goes into 3 once. So then basically what we will have as the prime factors for 18 would have been 2 times 3 to the power of 2. Okay, so it is the 2, and then there is 2 3. So that is how it will work when we do the prime factors. What I've seen in a previous paper is that they have 2 numbers, so they maybe have a 24 and a 28 or something like that, and then they asked you what are the common prime factors in both, so that you nearly get to, and it might be that we also do that, the lowest common factor. So we will also look at that at a later in some of the work, because that is also where they will connect the work we've now revising with some of the work that comes in at one of the later study units. Okay, so that is a recap of fractions. So what we have with fractions as well. So this is nearly some work that I've shared so that you can see some of the examples. So what we will do is, and let's take this one for now. Let's just close the rest of the work, and we can just quickly go through it, and then I will again show you. So I'll basically show you one of them, and you can look at the rest. There is answers with it. So here you see again we've got one of the the improper fractions. We've got the normal fraction and the normal fraction. So we want to make it all the same first. So 2 2/3. How we make it a fraction? 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. So we've got 8/3. Then we multiply it by a quarter. And we multiply it by 9/10. So now again, there's a few ways that you can do it. You can say 8 times 1 times 9 is 72. You can say 3 times 4, what is that? 12. 12 times 10 is 120. And then you need to still simplify. Or we can go and say, well, let's simplify it already with inverse. So 3 goes into 3 once, 3 go into 9 3 times, 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 2 times. So at the top, it's 2 times 1 times 3, which is 6. And at the bottom, it's 1 times 1 times 10, which is 10. And hopefully we get the same answer. So let me just quickly see if it was like that. Oh, and then we can even make it 3/5 to simplify it. Again, in your exam, they won't have that question or that answer, and that answer. So nearly let the answers that they give you in the assignment and in the exam nearly lead you towards how far you need to simplify. Normally, they want the most simplified answer. But again, it might be that they actually have stopped there as well. So just check that when you do your assignments that they most likely want the most simple answer. But it might be that even if you look at this one where we got 1 1/4, it might be that they write it as an improper fraction as well. So when you start off your answers or your work and you see actually that the options is all improper, at this stage nearly start simplifying it towards improper and don't go for the one that you actually have the number with a fraction. So let your answers nearly guide you in how far you go with your simplification. They normally want you to simplify to the smallest one that is possible, but they might want to say, so they might even say in the exam or in the show it as an improper fraction. So again, just look out for those wordings. Okay, then what the next one is about is decimals. So decimal is basically a place value. So what it does is it shows you after the decimal comma how many decimal numbers there are. What they will want you to do in some of the assignments is to say around certain decimals off. So we might get a number like 61,4789, and then they ask you round it off to the nearest number, or round it off to 1 decimal, or round it off to 2 decimals. So that might be how they ask it. They can sometimes ask you to write it as a decimal fraction. I'll show you. It might be that they want you to convert decimals to fractions, or convert fractions to decimals. In that instances, it will be simple decimals or simple fractions. So it will be something like 3 divided by 10 that will give you 0.3. It won't be something that you need to work out on the calculator unless they tell you to round it off to 2 or 3 decimals. Then it might be something that they tell you 7/11 or something like that, and you need to round it off to a certain number of decimals. But again, they will not give you 0.117 and say what is that as a fraction, or sorry, yeah, as a fraction, unless it is as simple as when saying it is 117/1000. So what I will always do is I would then replace it by 1,000, or if there was now a 5, I would just say, okay, but let's add a 5 and let's add another 0. But that will not really happen. So it's more that they will ask you to convert a 3/10 into a decimal, or 3/4. Obviously, with all of this, is you are allowed to use calculators. The one thing that, if you guys, when you have joined the WhatsApp group, if you can please send me the study guide. I just want to see if you are allowed to use Excel and those kind of things, because when we can show you how to use Excel, because yeah, I'm also sometimes, the calculators that I subscribe is expensive. So if you have access to Excel on a laptop, it might also just be a nice and easier way to do some of these sums. So if you guys can just later on share, or even in the chat, share with me the study guide, or not the study guide. There's normally that first letter that they sent, I think 101 or 102, that they talk a bit about the subject and some of the assignments. So I just want to see what is in there. And then with the decimal commas, nearly we will do the rounding off. So that is also something that will be something that you might get in one of the assignments. Then what I've also included for you, and this is more, I googled it, so if it, just to give you more information. So normally when we look at powers, we've got the positive powers, so something to the power of a positive number. So if it is something to a positive number, it will always be, what do you call it, a whole number. When it is negative powers, we'll go into a fraction. So again, it might be that they link the negative powers with fractions in a question, which is more likely than just asking you a question on fractions. So it might be that they ask you to say, what is 2 times 2 to the power of negative 2? So then that will be 1 over 2 to the power of 2, which is 1 over 4. Okay, so that is something that they are also likely to include in your assignment. And then just what I've added is the one that one sees a lot. So anything to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Okay, so anything, even if it is a variable, so even if it is a to the power of 0, it is equal to 1. Okay, except 0 to the power of 0, which I don't have the faintest idea what that answer is, but everything else to the power of 0 will give you 1. So again, it might be that they include something like that with a negative power. So one of the rules is that anything to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Then the other thing that nearly we can look at is when you've got something to the, so y to the power of 4, x to the power of 2, or anything like that, you're allowed to add, but boy, let me just quickly fix this. I don't know if it's only on my side that the screen has become smaller, but let me, okay. So basically, when you get that, what we do is we're not going to add the y to the power of 4 because that is a variable. So we're just going to add what is in front of it. And so we're going to add the numbers, which is 8, and the variable y to the power of 4 stays the same. Okay, so the only thing that we do there is that we add the 6 to the 2, and then the variable stays the same. So again, we can go through all of these, but the same will happen when it is 6 to the with y to the power of 4 minus 2 to the y to the power of 4. The variable will stay the same, and we can just say 6 minus 2, which will give us 4. Okay, so that's some of the powers, some of the rules that we need to know. On roots, and again, what is nice when we have this in Excel or on your calculator, the square root, so this is actually to the power, so it should be the roots, and the cubic root is to the power of 3, and then again you might get, so let's do this one. So that is actually what we need to do is simplify it. So if there's nothing, it also just means root of 2. So that will be then 2 over 2, which will give you 10 to the power of 1, which is 10. If you get to cubic root, so the first thing that we will do is we will say, okay, how can we simplify the 27? So 3 to the power of 3 is 27. So then with that 3 there, we basically do the same as we did with a square root. So 3 divided by 3, which then gives you 3 to the power of 1, which gives you 3. So also what you can do, so let's say we had that same 27, but it was root 6. I don't know what we call that. We'll do the same. So we will go 3 to the power of 3. And we will say the 3 is, oh, sorry, that's still 6. The 6 is there. So when we bring it in, it is 3 divided by 6. And then your answer is not 3 to the power of 1. It's 3 to the power of a half. Okay, and then whatever that is your final answer. So you are allowed to use that 6 and that 3 and simplify with it. Okay, so you are allowed to do that. In certain instances, if it's 3 over 6, it can go to a half. If it is 3 over 4, then you won't be able to really do anything else, but you are allowed to simplify it. And then what you again can do is to rewrite that as something like that. So that could then have been rewritten again as 3 to the power of 2. So just there is certain of these things, but let's rather, I don't think I have seen it, but if I do, it is on a recording, but let's not go into into all this detail. Okay, so that is if we look at roots, then one of the other areas as well that we need to focus on is ratios. So, and there's a big link between ratios, proportions, and percentages. And again, in what is important, and again, my first language is not English, so there's certain things that in a question, so when we'll see that in some of the questions, there's certain things that you can look out for. So if they say, and look at these questions, so they will, for ratios, they will use something like 4 to 1 or 1 to 4, which will mean 4 to 1 or 4 over 1. Okay, when they talk about proportions, they talk about 1 out of. So 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4. So 1 out of 4 is 1 out of 4 is a quarter. So if we wanted to put that in a ratio, we needed to say 1 to 4. Okay, so again, I sometimes don't like these because they they normally just put the wording in to confuse you. So it might be that in the one question they say, what is the simplest of 1 to 4? And then they give a few options. And in the next question, they ask you simplify what is 1 out of 3. And actually, in depending on how it is looking the numbers, it might be the same answer. So again, just look out for the wording to, the wording out, and then when we work with percentages, they need to say there needs to be per something for you to put it into a percentage. And normally it is per 100 because that nearly reflects the 100 that we are multiplying with. So the one with a 0. So that is normally when we look at percentages, what we need to do, multiply by 100. But again, they might use a few different things. So again, just be careful, specifically with ratios and proportions and percentages, the 3 words of the to, the out, and the per, so that you just know exactly which one to look for. Also, most likely the giveaway in the percentage at least is, if I ask for percentage, the percentage sign needs to be there every time. So you can now see they could have asked this question as 1 to 4, which would have been 1 over 4. They could have asked it 1 out of 3, or say, let's say 1 out of 4. Or they could have said, what is 25%? It's actually also 1 out of 4. So they could have gotten to the same answer with phrasing it in 3 different ways. So that for me is just nearly, when you see these kind of things, just be careful, because what I have seen is what they will do is have the quarter, they will have a 4, they will have a 25 to make you think about 25%, and they might even put in the 0.25. So again, just be more careful when you look at these and get to the right answer. Okay, is the questions thus far? And more to the point, is this helping?
It is often confused with accumulated depreciation. This is the long-term asset cost that has been allocated to the depreciation expense.
Okay, that.
Okay, now in short, or in a nutshell.
Okay, I think there's some double classes maybe going on. Yeah, so you can also afterwards on the WhatsApp group let me know for the guys that have been joining in between the sessions or in between. Please, you can join our WhatsApp group. It might be that you haven't seen it. It is way up in the copy. So you can join the WhatsApp group via that link, or you can actually just send me a WhatsApp as well. So what I also normally do is, beforehand, I'll share the presentation. After the session, I'll share the presentation. I am recording the session. UNISA will put it on their Western Cape link for you to access, but I will also put it on my YouTube channel for you to access, so that at least you have, again, if you listening to this, you're not part of a Western Cape area, you can send them also a email to give you access. And I see there has been a few numbers that you guys have been sending through. So please keep on sending through those student numbers, but you can also send an email to CTN TUT. They will open you up for the Western Cape Forum. You don't need to be from the Western Cape, and also you will be able, in any case, get the links through my WhatsApp group as well. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So other things that, just a recap, number lines. They can't ask you to draw number line because you're doing it online. So it's more about some of the signs. What I will also share in the next session is some of the words that goes with those signs. So you might, in some of the word sums or things like that, they might say, use the words more than or less than, and those kind of things. So I will, in the next session, definitely share with you which one. So more than, less than, but sometimes they say other words as well. So I will definitely add a table to this for you that you can use. The other thing that is in your study guide that they were looking at is something that, yes, let's just copy that link in again for you, is that they talk about factorial. On most of your calculators, there will be this, it looks like an explanation mark. That means factorial. So all that it means is that whatever is the number, you need to multiply with all the smaller numbers than that as well. So if it was 10, you would have needed to multiply 10 by 9 times 8 times 7 plus, or sorry, 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so what that means is, the factorial just means that you need to multiply it with all the numbers off, with including the number that you have. And the reason why they talked about this is because they want to talk about permutations and combinations. Again, most of your calculators will have a combination or a permutation button. So I'm just quickly looking at mine. I'm using a HP. So some of you guys will have the Casio or others. So on my HP, there's a button NPR, and then for the combination, there's a button NCR. So it is on your calculators. Again, what I like to use is Excel. So there is a permutation formula in Excel, and there is a combination formula in Excel as well. So again, that's why I nearly want to see what is allowed in your assignments. I assume in your assignments it should be okay to use Excel, but I just want to see so that wherever we can use Excel, we do so. So there's definitely nice formulas in Excel that allows you to work out combinations and permutations. Again, if we can't, there is always the longer formula that is also there, that is applicable. Also, as we will continue with this subject, at a stage, I will provide you with a formula page as well, so that we just cover in that page most of the formulas, so that again, when you have assignments or when you're writing, then at least you have reference again, so that it just makes it your life easier when everything is on one page and you don't need to look at too many of your notes. Okay, then the other thing, and they love to ask this, so this is something that will be in your assignments and in your exam. Let me just, are you writing exam, or I just want to now nearly make sure, am I confused between QMI and BNU? Which one has nearly 10 or 12 assignments? I think it's BNU that has all the assignments, and you guys still write exam, but also just let me know. But they love to ask this. So you will get a question where you need to work out what is the length of something. You will need to work out the area, and you will need to work out the volume. So you will get those 3 questions in both the assignment, and if you're writing the exam, it will be in the exam as well. So what I am missing here, which I will add for you guys, and I just want to make that note for myself, is that we include, and you don't need to worry about this, I will just add it for you, but we just need to include some of the other ones so that we cover it. So if I ask it, that we at least have the triangle, the square, and okay, so it is for BNU that, thanks for that. So it is for BNU that has the 12 or 14 assignments, and you guys have the exam. So I think you have 2 or 3 assignments. It might even be 4 assignments, but I think it's 2 or 3. And then you're writing towards May or June, you're writing the exam. Okay. So again, they love to put it in the assignment, and they love to put it in the exam. So I will just, for next week, I will just add that we cover triangle, the square, and circle as well. So if they have it, or if they ask it, we know how to work that out. So again, normally the length is, okay, yeah, okay. So 3 assignments, mock exam. The mock exam is critical for you guys to do. Yeah, we're not there yet, but just when we get to that stage, please, the mock exam critical, because in the mock exam, they test a few things. So they test if they, the thing that, see if you are cheating or not is working, but they also test to see if the exam is too long or not. So please make sure that you do the mock exam. I know in some subjects it's not required, others are. So if it's not required, still please do it, because it does give the lecturers a very good idea of the difficulty of the questions and the length of the paper. So please just very important to do the mock exam. Okay, so let's go into some examples. We've done a lot of the theory. Yes, the recordings will be shared afterwards, so don't worry about that. So what I normally do, Richard, is that I will, just after the session, I download it. I will share on the WhatsApp link. I will share the recording because I put it in one of my YouTube channels. So I will put it there. I'll share the link again. Then it is also a bit cheaper, the data for you guys to look at that. But saying that if you wait 2 or 3 days, it will be available on the Cape Town link, and then it is free because it's embedded in the MyUnisa. So then there is actually no data cost to it. But yes, I will share mine a bit quicker than that. So if you have free Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi at work and you want to download it, you can. Okay, so let's do some examples, and you guys can also try it and look at it, but I will explain some of these as we go along. So gonna use BOTMA, so first brackets, but within some of these brackets we have multiplication, we have division, we have addition. So let's do what is in the bracket first. So we need to do that one first. So within the bracket, first thing we need to do is multiplication. So 4 times 6 is 24. 24 plus 3 is 27. Okay, you can, again, why I like Excel, you can put this in Excel with the brackets and it will able to solve it for you. On your calculator, you're also allowed to use the calculators. So as long as you do the brackets, the calculator is supposed to do it in the right ways nowadays. But let's continue. So nothing else. So then what's in this bigger bracket? 15 divided by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 5. Oh, sorry. Where is 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 3 times 3 gives you 9. Okay, and then we have a plus still there. We have the 50 minus still there. So before we even go to, and sorry, this is now a bit neat. Let me just make it clearer. It's not. Okay, so 50 minus 27 is 23. 23 plus 9 is 32. And then we look at what's in the next bracket. So in bracket, first division, So 36 divided by 4 is 9. 9 plus 2 will get 11. So 32 minus 11 will give us 21 in the end. Okay, so you can test it if you do it on your calculator, can test it in Excel as well. The second one, you can try on your own, and please, there's no problem if you get this presentation tonight on the WhatsApp group, say, this is what I got, and I will check it for you. I think, again, what I want for us, why I've created the WhatsApp group, is that we share, so not when we do the assignment, because then I get in trouble because UNISA doesn't want us to use WhatsApp, but let's keep it between us. So when we start prepping, when I want to share, because it might be that at a point I get a nice YouTube video of something that explains a concept, and then I also will share that with you guys. So please, again, if you are not yet sent me something, you can always just, you don't need the link, you can just send a WhatsApp to me as well. Okay, so this was, if you look at how we need to, the order of things, we use BOTMAS. Then again, only going to do one of these. So here, what we've now done is said, okay, well, and that was nearly the first thing that we started off this evening, was numbers and variables. So we've included it in brackets. We need to solve, and then what they say is, okay, but for this exercise, we're going to replace the variables with numbers. Okay, so x is 2. So let's rewrite it. X is 2. Z is 5. Again, I'll quickly can make a mistake. I forgot about the x, which is 2. And then again, z, which is 5, minus y, which is 4. Okay, so it's exactly what we've done there. And then we need to simplify. So first brackets. So we've got 3 times 5 minus 2 is 3. So it is 3 times 3. And then 2 times 2 is 4. And within the bracket, 5 minus 4 is 1. So we sit with 3 times 3, which is 9, minus 4, with the answer is equal to 5. Okay, so they can ask you to replace the number. They could have asked you just to work out that. They didn't need it to ask you to replace the numbers. They could have just said, okay, but simplify that. Because we've done both variables and numbers, that is something that they can just ask you to simplify. If we needed to simplify that, we would have said 3 times z. So one of those rules that we also did up in front, 3 times the minus x is minus 3x. Then with here, we've got, okay, this is not helping at all. So let's can that, because I was hoping that you would be able to, okay, we can still do it. I was hoping that one could simplify it, but you could have done it this way, and then also change the x's, so that you say, well, z is 5, so 3 times 5 is 15, because that is what we would have done there, minus 3 times x, so we're supposed to get to the same number. 2 times z, x times z, x, z, so that's 10, that is 20. Sure, let's hope we get to the same number. And that one must be plus 2 times x, so 2 times 2 is 4 times 8, or times 4 is 8. So that is 15. Okay, now I have confused myself here. Let's just quickly, 3 times z, it was 15, minus 3 times x, 6. Let's just get this one sorted out. X is 2, z is 5. So that is 2 times 5 is 10, times 2 is 20, so that is correct. X is 2, y is 4, so that is 8 times 2 is 16. Okay, because we are supposed to get the same answers. Okay, so 15 plus the 16 was 31. Minus 6 minus 20 is minus 26. So 51 minus 26 is also 5. So both methods work. Easiest method is the first one, especially if you can't simplify some of the numbers. It's different if it was just 2 times z and 2 times y, and you might simplify. Okay, so they can ask you any one of those. Then we go into the fractions. So fractions, again, we'll quickly look at the top one. The bottom one, I have done some simplification, but you can try that again also. But let's do the top one. So it's always 5 times 3, then plus. So 5 times 3 is 15. 15 plus 3 is 18 over 5. 2 times 10, or 10 times 2 is 20. 20 plus 1 is 21 over 10. Now you can already see that we will probably need to change some of the fractions as well. And then we subtract 10 times 1, which is 10, plus 3. So I'll delete that now. So we will subtract 13 from 10. Let me just take that one away. Okay, so then there's two ways of doing this. So you can change all of them to 10. So the way we need to change to 10 is to basically say, well, those two are already 10. So to change this to 10, multiply by 2 at the bottom, but what we do at the bottom, we need to do at the top. So 18 times 2 and 5 times 2, that will give you 36 over 10. Then we will get 21 over 10 and the 13 over 10. And then that one can just say then 36 plus 21. So that is 57. And then minus 13. So 57 minus 13. What is that? 44. Let me just check on the calculator. 36 plus 21 minus 13. Yeah, 44. And that divided by 10. So now one can simplify. So one can say, well, we need to divide by 2. So then you get, okay, it's 22 over 5, which then we probably will need to make, depending on what your answer set is again, or you leave it like that, or it becomes 4 and 2 over 5. Okay, so all depending on what your answer set is. If your answer set is these fractions, you keep it, you don't simplify. If your answer set as numbers as well, then you simplify it. Another way we could have done it is at this stage, what I saw out of it is if I just said, just look at that, 21 minus 13 is 8. So that would have been 8 over 10. 8 over 10, if we divide by 2, is, well, let's not even divide. So to simplify it, that will be 4 over 5. So 18 over 5 plus 4 over 5 would have also given you the 22 over 5. So again, there might be in certain instances another way of doing it. In the end, you just want to get to the right number. So it doesn't matter which way you use. In the end, you just want to get to the right number. So it might be that you want to make everything to that it's divided by 10. It might be that for this instance, there was something nice that we could have subtracted, but it doesn't mean it will be always there. Okay, so another one that they love to ask is multiplication, and if you divide it within one question. So again, what I would do in this instance is try to get rid of the whole numbers, that we can see everything as a fraction. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14 over 5. The same here, 21 times 1 is 21, plus 4 is 25 over 21, divided by 5 over 6. So when we, what was that other big word that I couldn't pronounce? Reciprocal. So when we change a divide, what we can do is change it into multiplication, but for that, we basically swap it around. So that we are allowed to do. So if you say divide by 5/6, we can say, great, but we can change it to multiply by 5, or sorry, by 6/5. And the reason for that is, I'm not going to write everything out. Let's just say that part was x. So if we have x divided by 6 or 5/6, and we want to get rid of that, we would normally say, okay, to get rid of that, we will say 6/5, because that will cancel out. What you do at the bottom, you need to do at the top. So we would have needed to multiply it by 6/5. So that is why we're allowed to do it. So instead of dividing by 5/6, we can make it simpler for us and say we will multiply by 6/5. Because we can do that, now we can do a bit of simplification. So 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 5 5 times, 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 5 once. Okay, can we, 3 goes into there 7 times, 3 goes into there 2 times, 7 goes into there once, 7 goes into there 2 times. So at the top, we've got 2 times 1 times 2, which is 4, sorry, and not 2. 2 times 1 times 2 is 4. And at the bottom, we've got 1 times 1 times 1, which is over 1. So the final answer would have been equal to 4. So again, just showing you there is some practice examples as well. I think there's in your study guide, there is some examples as well that you can do. So I just wanted to show you what you are allowed to do when you get to that divide by. Much easier to change it to 6/5 and multiplying that out, and then only you divide by 5/6. Okay. Again, convert following fractions to decimals. You are allowed to use your calculator. So with this one, simply I would have said it is 5 comma, and you would look at what 3 divided by 8 is. So that would be 3 comma or 5,375. If I say use calculator, and let's be honest, this does come from some pre-COVID or pre-online assignments as well. I can't really tell you you're allowed to use your calculator in the exam and then come to a question and say, convert this fraction into a decimal without using your calculator. It doesn't make sense. So even if I don't say using your calculator, use your calculator, use it, because why do we need to struggle with it? Doing it on a different way, we can use the calculator. Okay, then sometimes more difficult to convert back into a fraction. So again, I'll do one and you can do the other one. So the 7 we covered, the 0.65 is 65 over 100. And now again, it might be that you need to simplify. So it might be, let's say, we can divide by 5, 6 go into there. So it seems like we can, if we divide 65 by 5, we get 13. And if we divide 100 by 5, we get 20. So that will probably be your final answer, is 7 and 13 divided by 20. Okay, so again, please see that it goes probably to the most simplified number. So if you don't get 6 and 65 over 100, 7 and 65 over 100, it might be that you need to simplify it. So I'll leave option 2 for you, that you can look at it. What they also like to do is to say round off. But they need to tell you, so they can't just say round off this number. They need to tell you round off to 4 or 5 or 6 decimals. So when we round off to 3 decimals, we look to what is the value to the right side of that third decimal. If it is 5 or bigger, we round up the third decimal. If it is less than 5, it stays the same. Okay, so 6 is 5 or bigger, so we will round up. So your third decimal would become a 7. Okay, so if it was 0 or 15.6664, the 4 is less than 5, we'll, what they call, we round down, but it basically means that the 6 will stay the same. It's not now that we will round it to 5. So the 6 will then just stay the same. So important nearly is when we round off, that number that will stay the same or will increase. So that's basically what can happen with the numbers. Stays the same or it will increase. Okay, we've got another 12 minutes, so let's fraction to decimal, very similar to one of the others. I'm not even going to try to do that without a calculator. And then if you see that is equal to 0, so if I round it off to 4 decimals, 0.4167. So they would also need to tell you, unless, again, in your answers, it might be that everything is rounded off to 4 decimals, then you'd round it off to 4 decimals as well. So again, let your answers nearly define what you're going to round it off to, because for me to round it off to 3 or 4 or 5 decimals, and they haven't told me how to round it off, does not make my answer wrong. So again, let the answer set nearly guide you in what you need to round it off to. Okay, one of the interesting things that I've seen once, and what they've done is nearly where we talked about the timeline. So what they've done is they have given the students a group of numbers, and then your options would have been A, B, C, and D, and they've given some of it ordering. and then you need to pick which one of the orders are correct. Okay, so that is how they would, if I ask you something about the timeline, that is how they would do it. They would ask you, give you a few numbers, and they would ask you which one is in the right order. Very important is to look at it from what they tell us. So they would tell us order it from small to large, order it from biggest to smallest, because normally what will happen is there will be an answer set if you order it from large to small, and there will be an answer set if you order it from small to large. Okay, so that is so important. Ordering from largest to smallest, so the highest number is first. So 6.6 is the largest. Then it is 6.06. Then between those three, it is 0.66, then 0.6, and then 0.06. Okay, so they might be nasty and throw in something like a 2/3, and you first need to simplify that and see, okay, that is 0.67, so that might slot in there if it was R. So just, it might be that they mix the numbers up, that there's decimals and there's fractions, that you first need to make it one thing, and it's normally easier to make it decimals than to make it fractions. So it might be that somewhere in there that they throw in a fraction, and you first need to simplify that fraction and then put it in order. Okay, so I'll keep the second one for you to look at. So let's do a first one first. So remember, BOTMAS, we do brackets first. So brackets first is 4 plus 1. So 4 plus 1 to the power of 3. Then BOTMAS says that we do exponents second. Okay, so in this bracket, there's still exponents that we need to do. So we first need to work out 4 to the power of 3, which is 64. Then 1 to the power of 3 is 1, because it's 1 times 1 times 1. And then we do the other, so 5 times 5 times 5 is 125 minus 65, which will give you 60. So first do brackets, so that we were allowed to do. Here, again, we wanted to do brackets first, but then within the brackets, there was other calculations that we needed to do before we could finally get to the brackets. So we first needed to source that and to get those answers. Then we did the bracket before we subtract. So brackets first, then exponents. If you're in the bracket and there's the exponent, you do that within the bracket. Okay, then again, something that they love to ask is this nearly in a sense. So, and they will ask you, here they ask about profit. I've seen that they love to ask also questions around mixing things up and you need to split it between three colors and things like that. So here, John, Jack, and Jackson sell magazines for a profit of 572. The profit is shared between them in a ratio equal to that of the numbers of magazines that they sell. If John sells 25, Jack sells 58, and Jason sells 41, how much money should each of them receive? So the ratio of the magazines are 25, 58, and 41. I don't think one can simplify that. So that is the ratio of magazines. If we needed to work out what is the ratio of money, then we needed to add those together, which would have given us 104. And then we need to say, okay, as a ratio, the 25 divided by 104 times 572 will give me the money or the profit that John makes. The same, we will do it for Jack, so that we can see the profit that he makes. And we will do the same for Jason and see the profit that he makes. And then when you get those three answers, it should add up again to 572 as the profit. Okay, so again, they've asked us the ratio of magazines, so that is what we've done. But if they ask us the ratio of the profit, this is how you would have worked out the ratio of the profit. So again, just it might be that they take the question a bit further, so that you can see how you need to work out that as well. Okay, we've got 3 minutes left, so let's look at, I think we've done that. Yes, there is a hand. You can ask a question.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, can I ask you something of which I don't understand in our previous experience? I see you said it's 104 here, and I don't know where is that 104 is coming from.
Okay, so I said the total number of books that was sold is a 25 plus the 38 plus the 41.
Plus 41.
So
This
that
comes
will
to
give you
104.
that will give you 104.
Okay, thanks. Now I understand.
Perfect. Please ask.
Okay.
Please ask when you don't know. I'm quickly going through some of these, so yes, please ask. Okay, cool. So that is how we got to the 104. Perfect. Okay, so I'm quickly going to the last one, just so that you can see from one drawing that they've asked 3 questions. So they've asked to calculate the area of a swimming pool. They ask you what volume of sand was removed to build the swimming pool, and then how many kiloliters of water are needed to fill the pool. So area is normally easier because it will be length times breadth, but let's just quickly, so for this instance, you will have 2 areas. So you will have that area that you will need to work out. So it is 12.5 times 6, but you will also have the smaller area. Okay, so remember with this swimming pool, 2 areas that you will need to. So the first one was easy to see, the 12.5 times 6 to give you nearly that purple. So let's do the area. Let's just draw it over again. So the purple part is that area. So that is 12.5 times 6, length times breadth. And then the extra area that we need to do is look at this area. And now we look at, okay, what do they give us? They don't give us that length, but they do give us that piece and that piece. So we can say, and again, I'm just quickly going to show, and then you can look at it afterwards as well. But we've got the total 12.5. If that is 4 and that is 4, because they tell us it's 4 and 4, we know that area will be 12.5 minus 4 minus 4. So if you work it out, that will be 4.5, and they tell us that area is 3.5. So for the one length to work out the area, we've got the 12.5 times 6. And then for the other part of the swimming pool, we will have it as 4.5 times 3.5. And then that will be your total area. So when you work out volume, you need to add height to it. So again, I would work out, use that one and multiply the height to that. And I will use that one and multiply the height to that. And then those two heights I will, or those two volumes I will add together. I will not try to do it as one sum. You already have the areas of the two, so you can just both areas multiply by the height to get your answer. And then the last one I'm going to leave for you to figure out, because what again I will put into the next presentation, I will update it a bit, that we also put in a table for you for conversions. So converting liters into kiloliters and those kind of things, and meters into. So I will add that for you in the next session, but first see if you can also work it out. Okay, guys, that is it for tonight. Next week it will be back on a Monday night. So next week again, we'll be back on a Monday night. It was just last night I could not make it. So next week, back on a Monday, unless again I'll ask later on the group, but if Tuesdays fits you better, one can maybe later on decide to move it to Tuesdays, but else we'll just be back next week Monday, again at 5:30. We can look at some of the answers to what the areas we skipped tonight for you to look at, but also I'll add one or two extra information sources, and then we can start looking at theme 2, so that we at least get through the part that you need to have covered for your first assignment. So we'll take some time next week just to recap on this, and then we'll start with theme 2 and see how far we can get with that. Okay, have a good evening. I will put the recording in the next hour.